The rifle is a century-old AK-47 with a stock wrapped in duct tape and a barrel so corroded you can see pitting inside the bore when you hold it up to the light. It smells of stale cosmoline, camel sweat, and the faint, sweet rot of whatever organic matter is decaying inside the handguard. You are 23 years old, standing in the cargo bay of an Ananovan 12 that is bucking through turbulence over the Horn of Africa. The air thick with diesel fumes and the unwashed scent of 32 other men packed shoulder to shoulder like livestock. You have never fired a weapon at a living thing. Your military experience consists of 6 months in a motor pool in Lithuania, changing oil on troop transports, before you were discharged for insubordination. The mercenary recruiter in a Vilnius bar didn't care. He just asked if you could carry 70 pounds of gear and follow orders. You said yes. He gave you $3,000 in cash and a plane ticket to Djibouti. The money is for your mother's cancer surgery. She doesn't know where you are. She thinks you work on a fishing boat. The plane shudders, the ramp lowers, and the African heat hits you like a wall of wet wool. The sky is a pale, dusty white, the sun a smear of molten brass. You jog down the ramp onto a dirt airstrip, surrounded by thorn brush and the distant, jagged shapes of mountains. A man in faded desert camo, his face hidden behind aviator's sunglasses and a shema, shouts at you in accented English. Welcome to the company. You're not a soldier, you're a contractor. You're not a hero, you're a tool. Tools don't think, tools do the job. You break, we replace you. Move out. You grip the rifle, your palms already slick, and you run toward the cluster of tents and sandbags that is your new home. This is Level 1. Level 1. The Grunt. Your contract is with a private military company called Aegis Solutions, a mid-tier outfit registered in the British Virgin Islands with a P.O. box in Dubai and a website that shows stock photos of smiling professionals in clean uniforms. The reality is a forward operating base, Phobe Dagger, a collection of canvas tents, HESCO barriers, and plywood latrines baking in 115-degree heat. The air smells of diesel exhaust, burning trash, and the chemical tang of the insecticide they spray in a losing war against the flies. You share a tent with 7 other men, their cots arranged in rows, their gear spilling out of duffel bags, their conversations a polyglot murmur of Serbian, Afrikaans, Spanish, and English. You are the youngest. You are the newest. You are the liability. The work is static security, guarding a supply depot, manning a checkpoint, walking perimeter patrols in 12-hour shifts while the sun tries to kill you. Your body armor is a hand-me-down vest with plates that expired in 2013. Your boots are a half size too small, and your feet have developed blisters that rupture and reform in a cycle of perpetual agony. You learn the tradecraft from the veterans, how to tape your boot heels to prevent blisters, how to pack your magazines with 28 rounds instead of 30 to prevent jams, how to sleep anywhere in any conditions because exhaustion is a debt that compounds. You learn that the local fighters, the tangos, the bad guys, are mostly teenagers with Chinese-made rifles and convictions you don't understand. You learn not to think about that. Your first contact is a midnight probe on the eastern perimeter. The incoming fire is a crackling, uncoordinated snap of bullets slapping into sandbags, and you crouch behind a barrier with your heart trying to exit your chest, fumbling with the safety on your rifle. The veteran next to you, a South African named Diederik who fought in Sierra Leone and Iraq, calmly fires 3-round bursts into the darkness while chewing gum. He glances at you, the muzzle flash illuminating his face in stroboscopic fragments, and says, "Relax. They're not trying to hit you. They're testing us. Don't waste ammo." The firefight lasts 8 minutes. You don't fire a single round. When it's over, your hands are shaking so badly you can't grip your water bottle. Diederik hands you a cigarette. You don't smoke, you take it anyway. Level 2, the operator 2 years pass. You've survived 6 contracts across 3 conflict zones, the Horn of Africa, a mineral war in the Congo Basin, and a counterinsurgency gig in northern Mozambique that was supposed to be low risk and turned into a 7-week siege of a mining compound. You've been shot at more times than you can count. You've returned fire. You've hit people. You've watched people die, enemy fighters, a fellow contractor named Malik who stepped on an IED, a civilian child caught in a crossfire that you still dream about. The dreams are the same every time. The child's face, the dust, the screaming mother, and the absolute horrifying knowledge that one of the rounds was yours. You are no longer a liability. You are an operator, a proven asset, your contract upgraded to $12,000 a month plus hazard pay, and a life insurance policy that names your mother as beneficiary. You've learned to move tactically, to clear a room, to read the terrain for ambush points, to field strip and reassemble your weapon in the dark in under 60 seconds. You've graduated from the AK to an M4 carbine with a holographic sight and a suppressor. a weapon that feels like an extension of your nervous system. You have a call sign now, Vilnius, a reference to your home city that the other operators found funny for reasons you don't fully understand. The work shifts from static security to active operations, convoy protection, high-value target extractions, a reconnaissance mission that involved spending 3 days in a hide site overlooking a smuggling route, eating cold MREs and pissing into a bottle while you cataloged the movements of an Al-Shabaab affiliate. You've developed instincts you didn't know you had. You can sense an ambush before it's sprung, a prickling at the back of your neck, a wrongness in the landscape. You trust these instincts implicitly. They have saved your life 4 times. The moral calculus is becoming harder. The mining company you protected in the Congo. You've learned, from a leaked report, that they were using your security perimeter to forcibly displace villages from land they wanted to mine. The people you were protecting were the predators. The people you were shooting at were farmers with ancestral claims and no other recourse. You don't know how to process this information. You drink more than you used to, a bottle of whiskey every 2 nights, the cheap stuff that burns going down and burns worse the next morning. The other operators drink too. It's part of the culture. It's part of the trade. Level 3, the specialist you've invested in yourself. Between contracts, you've taken courses: advanced trauma medicine, explosive ordnance disposal, sniper certification, hostile environment driving. You've paid for these courses out of pocket. $15,000 here, $20,000 there. And the return on investment is immediate. You are now a specialist, a combat medic, someone who can stabilize a gunshot wound, intubate a casualty, and run a field hospital while under fire. Your contract rate has jumped to $25,000 a month. You are in demand. You can pick your clients, and you pick carefully, or try to. You sign with a top-tier PMC, a company called Obsidian Strategic that recruits primarily from Special Forces units, SEALs, SAS, Spetsnaz, GIGN, and you are one of the few operators without an elite military pedigree. The selection course is a 2-week hell. Physical exhaustion, psychological stress tests, a simulated capture, and interrogation that leaves you with bruised ribs and a cracked tooth. You pass. The company assigns you to a kinetic protection detail in Libya, a shattered nation where rival militias fight over oil terminals and the body count is a background statistic. Your principal is an oil executive who wears $3,000 suits in a war zone and complains about the quality of the bottled water. You hate him, you protect him anyway. The toll on your personal life is complete. You have not been home to Lithuania in 4 years. Your mother's cancer went into remission. The surgery you paid for worked, but she is old now, and her voice on the phone is weaker each time, and you can hear the unspoken question: when are you coming home? You don't have an answer. You have a girlfriend in Nairobi, a journalist named Amina who covers the conflicts you fight in, and the relationship is a contradiction you cannot resolve. She believes the PMC industry is a parasitic blight on the developing world. You believe she's right. You also believe you're too far in to get out. The tension between these two beliefs is a wire stretched across your throat. Level 4. The team leader Obsidian promotes you. You're running a 6-man team now, responsible for tactical planning, operational security, and the lives of men who depend on your judgment. The pay is $40,000 a month, plus performance bonuses. The team is a cross-section of the mercenary world. A former British para, a Chilean ex-commando, a Fijian who served in the British Army, a Ukrainian who fought in the Donbass, and a quiet, lethal American who never talks about his past but moves with the coiled precision of someone who spent time in the Joint Special Operations Command. You are the youngest team leader in the company's history. You are also the most exhausted. The responsibility is a physical weight. You plan every mission in obsessive detail. Primary routes, alternate routes, escape routes, medevac coordinates, comms protocols, rules of engagement. You brief your team and you watch their faces and you know that any one of them could die because of a decision you make. You've lost men before, a Nigerian operator named Emeka, killed by an RPG during a convoy ambush, his body so badly burned they identified him by his dog tags. You wrote the letter to his family. You've written 4 such letters. The letters are formulaic now, a description of the deceased's bravery, an expression of deepest condolences, a promise that they died for something meaningful. You don't believe the last part anymore. You don't know what any of this is for. The missions escalate. Your team is contracted for a black operation, a rendition, the capture of a high-value target from a safe house in a country where your company technically doesn't operate. The op goes sideways. The target is not there. What is there is a family, a woman, 3 children, an elderly grandfather, and a local militia that shows up 10 minutes into the exfil window. The firefight is brutal, close quarters, confused. Your team extracts with 2 wounded and no captive. Back at the FUB, you file the after-action report and you omit the details about the family. The company doesn't ask. The company never asks. Level 5, the company man, you've been in the life for 12 years. You are 35 years old and your body is a catalog of injuries. 2 bullet scars, a knife wound on your left forearm, a knee that clicks when you walk, tinnitus that rings in your ears like a distant air raid siren. You've been promoted out of the field into a corporate role, Director of African Operations for Obsidian Strategic, a title that comes with an office in Dubai, a 6-figure base salary, and equity in the company. You no longer carry a rifle, you carry a laptop. You attend meetings with oil executives and government ministers and the occasional CIA station chief who pretends not to be a CIA station chief. You negotiate contracts worth tens of millions of dollars. You are a businessman. You wear tailored suits and shave every morning, and sometimes go entire days without thinking about the men you've killed. The separation from the field is not a relief. It's a different kind of burden. You review mission reports from the teams you used to lead, and you see the names of operators you trained, and you read about their deaths in the sterile language of corporate liability. Asset loss due to hostile action. You sign off on the condolence letters that someone else now writes. You attend the funerals when you can, standing in the back, a face from the home office, a reminder of the machine that consumed them. The families look at you with a mixture of gratitude and resentment. You understand both, you feel both. Your relationship with Amina ended years ago. She published a book about the privatization of war, and one of the chapters was about your company, and one of the paragraphs was about you, thinly disguised. The book called you a man who traded his soul for a paycheck and then tried to buy it back with guilt. You read the paragraph 3 times. You closed the book. You didn't disagree. You see her occasionally in the background of news reports, still covering the wars you now help run from an air-conditioned office. You wonder if she's happy. You wonder if you are. You don't know how to answer either question. Level 6. The contractor of contractors Obsidian is acquired by a larger firm, a defense conglomerate with subsidiaries in logistics, intelligence, and weapons manufacturing. You are given a severance package of $2 million and a non-compete clause that bars you from working for a competitor for 3 years. You take the money. You move to a villa in the south of France, a stone farmhouse surrounded by lavender fields, the kind of place you used to fantasize about when you were lying in a ditch in Mozambique, the mud soaking through your clothes, the mosquitoes whining in your ears. The villa is beautiful, the silence is deafening. You try to retire, you genuinely try, you drink wine instead of whiskey. You take up cycling, your bad knee screaming on every hill. You date a French woman who works in real estate and has no connection to the world you came from. You don't tell her about the wars. You don't tell her about the people you've killed. You present yourself as a former security consultant, a dull profession that doesn't invite follow-up questions. The relationship lasts 8 months. She leaves because you are, in her words, not fully present. She's right. Part of you is still in the Congo. Part of you is still in Libya. Part of you is still 23 years old, standing on a dirt airstrip, gripping a duct-taped rifle. The retirement fails. You're approached by a consortium of mining companies operating in the Sahel, the band of semi-arid land south of the Sahara, where jihadist insurgencies have made conventional security impossible. They don't want to hire a PMC. They want you, personally, to build a new one from scratch. They offer you $5 million in seed funding, complete operational control, and a percentage of the contracts. You say no. You say no 3 times. Then a video surfaces online. A French aid worker beheaded by an Al-Qaeda affiliate in the region where these mines operate. You watch the video. You don't sleep that night. The next morning, you call the consortium and say yes. You tell yourself it's about protecting innocent people. You know it's also about the war, the only thing you were ever good at, the only thing that ever made you feel alive. Level 7. The Pantom, your new company, is called Sentinel Group. It has no website. It has no public profile. It recruits exclusively from your personal network, men you've served with, men you trust, men who are looking for the same thing you're looking for. A return to purpose. You set up operations in a converted warehouse in Niamey, the capital of Niger, a sprawling, dust-choked city on the edge of the desert. The mission is straightforward. Protect the mining consortium's assets, train a local security force, and conduct offensive operations against the insurgent groups that have made the region ungovernable. The mission is straightforward. The reality is a quagmire. You've become the thing you once despised, a deniable asset A shadow operator, someone who does the dirty work that governments and corporations cannot officially acknowledge. Your teams conduct cross-border raids with no flags, no uniforms, and no official sanction. You work with local militias who are sometimes allies and sometimes enemies, and often both in the same week. You pay bribes to government officials who skim from the bribes and ask for more. You operate in a moral gray zone so wide and so deep that the concept of right and wrong has lost all meaning. The only metric is effectiveness. The only goal is survival. Your health is failing. The knee has finally given out entirely, replaced by a titanium implant that aches when the weather changes. The tinnitus is worse, a constant high-pitched whine that makes sleep difficult and concentration an act of will. You take medication for anxiety, for depression, for the nightmares that still come 3 or 4 times a week. You see a therapist via video call, a woman in Geneva who specializes in treating former soldiers and who listens to your stories without flinching. She tells you that you have post-traumatic stress disorder. You tell her you already knew that. She tells you that you need to stop fighting. You tell her you don't know how. Level 8. The Emperor of Dust Sentinel Group has grown into a regional power. You have 600 operators under your command, a fleet of armored vehicles, a private air wing, and an intelligence network that rivals the local CIA station. You have become, in effect, a warlord, a man who controls territory, who levies his own taxes, who makes decisions that affect the lives of thousands of people. The mining consortium has ceded operational control entirely. You report to no one. You are the highest authority in your corner of the desert, and the power is corrosive in ways you didn't anticipate. You've started making decisions that you would once have condemned. You've ordered preemptive strikes on villages suspected of harboring insurgents, strikes that killed militants and civilians alike. You've authorized interrogation techniques that cross the line into torture. You've looked the other way when your operators executed prisoners, because prosecuting them would damage morale, and morale is everything. You have become the enemy you were originally hired to fight. You know this. You justify it with the logic of the war. The insurgents are worse, the alternative is chaos, the ends justify the means. You almost believe this, you almost don't. The end, when it comes, is anticlimactic. A change in the political landscape, a new government in Paris that wants to distance itself from the abuses in the Sahel, a series of investigative reports that expose your operations to public scrutiny. The mining consortium cuts ties overnight, the contracts evaporating, the funding disappearing. Your operators scatter to other companies, other wars, other paychecks. You are left in an empty warehouse in Naomi, the dust settling on your desk, the silence ringing in your ears. You are 52 years old. You have been a mercenary for nearly 30 years. You have made millions of dollars. You have nothing else.